Squid Game Season 3 concluded the series on a pretty bleak note. Not only did Detective Junho never manage to shut down the games, or even so much as make a dent in the operation, but the games themselves ended poorly for 99.56% of the players involved. Of the 456 people who took part in the game, only 2 survived. One was player 256, who was discreetly rescued by sympathetic guard Kang No-ul, and the other was player 222, ACGI Baby. Even our main character Ji I-hun died in the end. He sacrificed himself in order to save the baby's life, throwing himself off a ledge after a season full of pain. It's a dark finale, but it wasn't always the writer's plan for Ji I-hun. As showrunner Hwang Dong-hyuk explained in a recent interview, he was originally thinking about keeping Ji I-hun alive throughout the entire series. Here's what he said. "I did think about having Ji I-hun live. I thought about an ending where Ji I-hun would make it out of the game in one way or another and he would go to America to see his daughter. But in the process of writing it, I had a change of heart. I thought, what story do I want to tell through the show? Also, I looked at what was happening around the world at the time and how there was less hope for humanity. I thought of Ji I-hun sacrificing himself for this baby, just as we all should for our future generation. That was a better fitting ending for both the show and the character." While fans certainly wanted Ji I-hun to survive the games in one piece, Dong-hyuk finds his fate inspiring. Not only is Ji I-hun's final act a noble one, but his sacrifice positively impacts the lives of multiple people around him. Even those annoying VIPs seem moved by his decision. It forced them to reflect, at least for a moment, on their own depravity. And for once, none of them seem to have anything to say. Kang No-ul especially is moved by Ji I-hun's choice. She's about to end her own life until she sees him sacrifice himself, and that's what inspires her to keep on living. Dong-hyuk noted that No-ulal, whose name means dusk, is someone who has been stuck living with deep sadness and guilt that she wasn't able to save her baby. She redeems herself by saving player 246, but it's not until seeing Ji I-hun's death that she's willing to rekindle hope that her child might still be alive in North Korea. By sacrificing himself, Ji I-hun also won the moral battle against In-ho. Dong-hyuk noted that In-ho, the game's ominous frontman, was also moved by Ji I-hun's final moments. He and Ji I-hun have spent the past 2 seasons locked in a battle of ideologies. The optimistic Ji I-hun believes that people are worth protecting, while the bitter, hardened In-ho believes that humans are inherently monstrous and self-serving. Throughout most of Squid Game Season 3, it sure seems like In-ho's been proven right. Ji I-hun's rebellion falls apart, all the other players end up killing each other, and even the baby 222's own father is willing to throw him off a cliff if it means saving his own skin. But Ji I-hun gets the final word by sacrificing himself. He refuses to take the easy, self-serving route that In-ho took to survive his own time in the games. Here's what Dong-hyuk had to say about it. By sacrificing himself, Ji I-hun's actions have definitely touched something in In-ho's heart. Maybe a very small sliver of hope that he had hidden deep down in his heart. I also think it may have triggered some shame in him, because that sacrifice was something he wasn't able to do for himself. With the gaming arena in Korea being completely ruined, and seeing this baby who made it out of the game, there was a huge change within the frontman, and I think that was triggered and brought about by Ji I-hun's actions. I wanted that to be what the audience feels as well. In conclusion, Ji I-hun's sacrifice at the end of Season 3 symbolizes a profound shift in his character. It represents a rejection of self-interest and a dedication to protecting the vulnerable, highlighting the show's theme of humanity's capacity for both cruelty and compassion. Ji I-hun's journey in the show is marked by his initial self-centeredness and struggles with financial hardship. However, through the brutal experiences of the Squid Game, he witnesses immense suffering and loss, ultimately leading him to prioritize the well-being of others, especially Junhee's child. The Squid Game is built on a foundation of ruthless competition and individual survival. Ji I-hun's sacrifice directly opposes this by choosing to sacrifice himself for the sake of another, demonstrating a fundamental rejection of the game's values. The Squid Game is built on a foundation of ruthless competition and individual survival. Ji I-hun's sacrifice directly opposes this by choosing to sacrifice himself for the sake of another, demonstrating a fundamental rejection of the game's values. Ji I-hun's sacrifice ensures that Junhee's baby is declared the winner of the Squid Game. This provides a glimmer of hope for the future, suggesting that the cycle of violence and despair can be broken, and a new generation can be spared the horrors of the game.